My name is Diane Beattie and I am the Payments Manager at Moray Council, with responsibility for corporate procurement within the organisation. This will be my last opportunity to welcome you in an official capacity to Meet the Buyer North, as I'm stepping back from my formal duties as the North of Scotland representative on the Supplier Development Programme Board, an honour I've had since 2016. These past 5 years have seen a lot of changes, and indeed seen the SDP grow year on year to the organisation you will meet today. But don't worry, the North of Scotland will be in good hands, because I have the privilege to introduce you to Fiona Conti from the Shared Procurement Service at Aberdeen City, Shire and Highland Councils, who has just joined the SDP board. To support economic recovery across the Highlands and Islands of Scotland, which hits small businesses particularly hard, we at the Supplier Development Programme, in partnership with Scottish Government and the Scottish Procurement Alliance, are delighted to provide you today with free access to engage directly with buyers from the public sector, and what could be a turning point for your business through new opportunities and access to public projects. Like many of you, this is not the format I would prefer. I very much miss meeting each of you in person at Aviemore and Inverness like in years gone by. I remember Aviemore particularly well, as I talked so much I ended up losing my voice, but it was worth it. However, the pandemic and the urgency of a net zero society are pushing us all to rethink how we do business, and so we will continue to meet, but for now, it'll be virtually. This gives us an opportunity to create a new way forward, and I'm sure my colleagues here today from right across the public sector are interested in how your goods, works and services can innovate and deliver economic and social prosperity in our local communities. You won't be left alone to do this. This is where the SDP come in, to offer you business support in all aspects of tendering. In case today is your first virtual event, you should know that SDP has never been busier, offering free training and engagement events online from the outset of the COVID-19 pandemic. Since the pandemic hit us last March, the small team of 4 at SDP has delivered more than 100 free webinars, with over 1,700 individuals from 1,600 unique Scottish SME businesses attending those sessions. SDP also delivered the first virtual Meet the Buyer North last September. The Moray team that staffed our virtual stand was kept busy the whole day. A new experience for us as well as the attendees. And if I have any words of advice for you from my team, it would be they much preferred the video chats. It was the closest they could get to a face-to-face conversation, making it easier to understand and be understood. There were 825 actual attendees on that day last year, and through the one-to-one exhibitor meetings on the portal, we collectively achieved 11,000 minutes of video interaction. More importantly, the post-event survey that we asked attendees to complete highlighted that 90% of Scottish SMEs said they were more likely to bid for public contracts after participating in the virtual event. That's a success we can build on today and right into the future. But I think that's enough from me for now, so I'd like to hand things over to Fiona to talk you through what's on today.
Thank you very much, Diane. We at the Commercial and Procurement Shared Service for Aberdeen City, Aberdeenshire and Highland Councils only became full members of the Supplier Development Programme last year to try and make it truly a national service, a feat that was trailblazed by you at Moray Council in your role there. You didn't have to try very hard to convince me to come onto the SDP board because of the great work that you've been doing. We are neighbours after all, not only in town, but I also live in Moray, so it's good. I've seen firsthand that you've always brought a critical passion, insight and experience to Meet the Buyer North events in particular. And that's what I'm going to try very, very hard to carry forward. So in my new position, on behalf of the SDP board, I want to thank you for your years of service with the SDP and for being absolutely pivotal in connecting economic development and procurement in the north of Scotland. Thank you also for championing the Meet the Buyer North event to bring a more visible and joined-up approach to the public sector buyers engaging with SMEs, supported businesses and third sector organisations. It is clear that you embrace good practice for the benefit of suppliers in bringing value to Scotland's public sector, and we will miss you. And so I'd like to turn now to what's coming up today. The goal of Meet the Buyer North is to raise of public sector contract opportunities and provide free access to public sector buyers and wider supply chains to businesses established in the north of Scotland, as well as for those that want to grow to establish themselves here. There are over 20 exhibitors here today at Meet the Buyer North, which will provide you with an opportunity to, firstly, ask about upcoming contract opportunities and framework that buyers use. Secondly, to access business support to grow your business, including digital and financial support. And it also affords you the opportunity to network with other businesses. There are 2 virtual stages at Meet the Buyer 2021. There is the Power of Procurement stage and the Let's Do Net Zero stage, which each have a slightly different timetable and inbuilt time for visiting the virtual exhibit hall. If you miss a presentation, don't worry. The final films will be available on the SDP YouTube channel following the conclusion of the event, so be sure to subscribe to that so you don't miss out. I do hope you enjoy the day and benefit from the wealth of information and support on offer, and look forward to your participation in the many question and answer sessions taking place, including SDP's Helping You Bid Better live Q&A panel, where you can pitch your questions to our panel of expert trainers on all things tendering. I want to thank Scottish Government and the Scottish Procurement Alliance for being headline partners at today's Meet the Buyer North event. I also want to thank the Minister for his support and upcoming address to this event. I also want to thank all of the exhibitors here today, local authority procurement and economic development staff, public sector organisations, as well as business support initiatives like Living Wage Scotland and Business Gateway in Aberdeen City and Shire and Tayside. A little point on Living Wage Scotland. They have informally fed back that the in-person Meet the Buyer North event in 2019 was the best event they'd ever attended for engagement. That means that there are businesses in the North that want to engage with the highest standards of employment. And so I hope you will make it a point to visit the Living Wage Scotland stand for more information, even though we're now virtual. Finally, I want to thank you for attending today's Meet the Buyer North event. I hope that you'll meet new people and make the connections you need in the public sector to ensure your business grows in the months and years to come. And after today's event, please do engage with upcoming training from the Supplier Development Programme. SDP is a fantastic free resource to help you bid better. If you haven't already done so, please take the time to follow SDP on all the social media channels, on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and use the hashtag MeetTheBuyerNorth 2021 and have a great experience today. Thank you.
Hi Fiona, it's good to see you again. Not quite our normal. Normally there's a cup of coffee between us.
There certainly is a cup of coffee and some informal chat as well. So this is a slightly different setup today, but I'm sure we'll still be able to share the good information that we always do when we're sat together having that coffee.
Yeah, putting the world of procurement to rights.
Absolutely, absolutely. And talking about that, I noticed that SDP had recently refreshed its course materials, incorporating a lot of the supplier feedback that we've all become very used to. What has that been part of your role? Have you had an input benefit? What do you think that adds to the economic development at procurement in Moray Council?
I was lucky enough to attend 3 of the 4 presentations that were done here in Moray in 2019, training sessions. And I was fascinating, Fiona, because I've always looked at it from a buyer's perspective, but to sit in the room with sellers and a trainer who could put across what they needed to do was fascinating. And we actually had some really positive feedback from that. And I think we got some engagement in the local suppliers in Moray, which is what we were looking for in the first place.
Yeah, that's right. Because I do understand that sometimes, just because of the size of your area and so on, there's a big pull towards the other areas in the region, away from potentially the suppliers on your doorstep. So I think anything that could help them to stay put and work with you is probably a really good benefit for Moray Council.
it will be good to get back to those face-to-face sessions. But in the meantime, refreshing those webinars has been great. And I'm sure any supplier wanting to make use of them will find them useful.
Yeah, well, again, it's a resource there for everyone to jump onto and use wherever they can and whenever they can, and get as many people involved as possible. Yeah, that's really good, really good.
Yeah. I mean, talking about getting suppliers ready, I know something close to your heart is climate change and the emergency and net zero. Some of the projects you're working on in your shared procurement service is brilliant. Yes. But so what are you guys doing to prepare for all that? It's a new direction for some of us. And I suppose it's a new direction for some suppliers. I mean, some of them have been in it for years, but not all. What have you been doing?
Very much so. Well, we have to get our own house in order internally to see exactly what we need to do in order to meet the challenges that are going to be facing everyone with this new direction, as you very correctly say, in terms of the climate change agenda. Pull together strategies and almost having a forward think as to how the shape of the world is going to be. And we're going to be engaging with SDP as well to try and get suppliers ready for when everything starts to go on full blast. Because the climate thing isn't just about vehicles, it's also about heating and grid capacity and infrastructure in the ground and all the support that needs to go around that as well. It's not just about a garage having the capability of doing things like that. It's also about the experience of the staff and the access to that. So any training that we can ask SDP to deliver on all of that in terms of just awareness raising is going to be invaluable for us. So yes, very much so. Exciting prospect for all suppliers in the area.
Yeah, it's a real culture change, isn't it?
Yes, massively. So there'll be the boiler suits will be a bit cleaner with electric vehicles, I must admit. So the PPE will still be very much there because obviously new technology, it can be seen as quite a thing as well because it is a new technology. Nobody really knows how to do it yet. And again, we're hoping that SDP will help to breach that gap basically.
Yeah, getting some of that innovation from suppliers and getting them to understand where they can take it once they've got some good ideas is just key, isn't it?
It very much is because there's so many different. So something's just dropped. Sorry. Oh God, yeah, a couple of things on the floor. Sorry, Grant. So yeah, trying to get the suppliers engaged and to get them business ready for all the new things that are going to come along is really, really key. And I think that's where SDP can certainly help to create that awareness within the market and to get the suppliers ready and not just to keep their own sort of interest in how the market's going to move forward, take part. When it's ready to go. So, yeah, exciting prospects indeed.
Yeah. I think we've got one more.
So my screen just froze there. Right. There we go. So, right. So, Diane, what do you think the barriers are for Scottish SMEs, third sector and supported business in the public sector? And what support do you think they can access to help overcome these challenges?
For most of them, I think it's knowing what's coming up, what opportunities are around the corner. And yeah, they can go and have a look on most of our council websites and see our published contract registers. But the SDP are working quite hard with local authorities to put together more localised publicity and communication. So ranging from a single project, sorry, my phone's just gone. ignore it, it'll go away. Do you want to start the question again, or do you want me to just kick off where I left off? Okay. I suppose it's knowing suppliers, knowing what's coming up and what opportunities they can meet in the future. And yeah, they can go onto our websites and see our published contract register so they can see what's expiring. But the SDP are getting clever now, and they're talking to local authorities about individual localized meet the buyer events, which can either be for one project, where they're just trying to engage with a certain commodity market and getting them to come to the table, or something wider like the growth deals. They're huge, and putting packages together and holding events is becoming the norm, I think, for some SDP. And I suppose once they've got the opportunities and they know what's coming, they've then got to do something about it. And it can be quite daunting for a small SME or a third enterprise to look at the formalities that we have to go through. It can be quite technical. And, so they need help and support. And that's where the SDP comes in again. Because by accessing all their webinars, which is either make best use of PCS tender or how to bid better, I mean, they can really understand what we're looking for. And their webinars cover the whole thing, procurement from end to end and from start to finish. So it's the one-stop shop, as far as I'm concerned, for SMEs for training.
It's a fantastic resource that's available to everyone to get themselves up to speed.
Yeah, definitely. Can't praise it enough. I think, Fiona, you're going to have to do that because you're taking over.
Okay, that's fine. So, Diane, it's been really, really nice to catch up, and hopefully soon we'll be able to have that cup of coffee in person again. And we'll wish you well into the future as you stand down from SDP. And you never know. I think I know where you live, so I might come banging on your door at times just to get some input and some of that experience and knowledge that you've clearly got in abundance. So, really like to say thank you very much again for all the years, the blood, sweat, tears, and passion that you've put into the SDP. And getting it to where it is now. And I think my challenge is filling your shoes. So big shoes to fill.
Are you going to do brilliantly, Fiona? I really wish you and the SDP all the best in the future.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And thanks everyone also for coming along today. And I hope you really enjoy the sessions as they carry on through the course of today. Thank you.